Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. Today's episode is with someone who is a digital marketing client of ours. We do his SEO. He and I originally connected back in 2022 going into 2023 as we were both members of Win Rate Consulting. We've stayed connected over the years. And then as we were getting the agency started again last year, he became one of our first clients. It's been an awesome to partner with him and his company. And he's even introduced us to more franchisees within the Joe Homebuyer network and been a huge advocate for our company and our services. But today I'm excited to dive into his story, learn more about his journey, and discuss some of the strategies he's used to build authority and dominate his market. My guest today is Greg Berney with Joe Homebuyer Triad Group. Greg, welcome to the show and welcome back from vacation.
Thank you, man. Adam, I'm grateful to get to spend some time with you. Grateful to get to do the podcast. And we just got back from 2 weeks on vacation. So it's reentry has been interesting to say the least. But
Yes.
This is a time well spent, I'm sure. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. So who is Greg Berney?
So, first and foremost, my family comes first. I'm a dad. I'm a dad of three. We did this trip to Italy, which was a 20-year anniversary celebration. So, one of the things I love about owning a business, about entrepreneurship, I don't think there's a price tag you can put on the ability to define your schedule, the ability to define how you want to spend your time, and to be able to do things with the ones you love. First and foremost, that's who I am as a dad and a husband. And then I spend my days and sometimes evenings and weekends as well as a real estate investor.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned something right there that I want to dive into before we kind of talk maybe a little bit more about your journey is the price tag. There is not a price tag, right, on entrepreneurship and having the ability to create your own schedule, right? There's pros and cons to that, as you mentioned, nights and weekends. But a couple of weeks ago, I was, going through some stuff in terms of we had a couple people quit. We're in the process of hiring and backfilling those roles and even trying to exceed that, right? And I had this crazy dream and I was like, it was me talking to myself and I woke up in the middle of it just sweating, like, should I just go back and get a job at some point, right? Talk to us about like when you became an entrepreneur, kind of what that journey was like when that happened, and then finish up with like, I'm sure you probably have had some of those thoughts as well, but like why you continue to stay the path that you're on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll start with the end by saying that totally resonates. And I had one of those moments as recently as like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Um, you know, um, yeah. So I have zero entrepreneurial background. I grew up in a pretty traditional household. Dad worked a job that I don't know that he loved, but it provided for his family. He was there a long time, and sort of I think the uh, messaging, perhaps unintentionally, but the messaging I grew up with was the traditional get a good job, college degree, get a good job, sock away to the 401k, and live for the weekends, even if you don't love your job, sort of thing.
Mm.
And so that's the path I was on. I got a social work degree, worked in healthcare, was working my way up through the ranks, was in a director position. And, I look back now, Adam, and this will resonate for folks who came from the corporate world. It's like you hear so much about the wonder of this corporate ladder, and you get to a certain height on it, and you're like, oh crap, I'm on the wrong ladder. And so, this was at a time where the kids were younger. I was in my mid 30s, and I was faced with this crossroads of do I want to commit the next however many years to this thing that I just don't love.
Mm.
And there were things within the organization that were causing that, but it was within me that I felt a calling to be doing something different, something bigger. I knew there was more possibility, and so I started looking for that. And got into this real estate space. Was doing it sort of nights and weekends, but saw an opportunity to create something bigger. I had no idea what it was going to look like, and so you and I have connected a bunch. I don't know that I've ever told you this story. So you have to be careful about what you put into the universe, right? So I remember
Yeah.
one night I'm talking to my wife Laura, and um, so I'd done. I'm in real estate wholesaling. I'd done one deal. I had not nearly enough um, experience to be able to say with such confidence, Laura, if I had a guaranteed 6-month runway, I would make this work. I'd create a business and make this business work. And 2 or 3 days later, I got called into my boss's office. There were several positions being eliminated. Mine was one of them. And we'll help you find something else, or here's a 6-month severance package. So that was that was the critical turning point for me. That was a few years ago now, and um, so I guess, getting to where we are now, and my brother also owns a business, in Connecticut, and what he says about entrepreneurship is, you're always working and you're never working. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think that's really true because um, I feel a burden that is different from a 9 to 5. I love my team and I feel responsible uh, to create opportunities for them. I feel responsible to have a dream and a vision that's big enough for what they want to accomplish in life to fit inside of. And that's not a 9 to 5 thing.
Mm.
Right. And
Mhm.
so I think that there are uh challenges in every walk of life, but I think the challenges in within entrepreneurship are definitely unique. And but I think what keeps me going, is the idea that man, we get one life. I think we're here to be challenged and to grow and to become the best versions of ourselves, and we don't improve without challenges, right?
Mm. You said a couple of great things there, but I think the one that I've struggled with recently, and I think a lot of people struggle with, is building that vision that's big enough for you, but and the entire company. So let's dive into that a little bit because I think some people don't know where to start on that. Some people don't know how to build that vision outside of the vision for themselves. How did you get to that in terms of where you're at right now? Like, obviously, it probably didn't start the way it is right now, but how has it evolved for you to be able to be like, "Hey, this thing's gotta have everybody else's visions and goals inside of this organization?"
Yeah. I'll give you the cleanest answer I can because I don't know. My gut reaction to that is, boy, Adam, I'm not sure. I think it I think at the beginning it was the vision was not any more expansive than uh, how do I how do I replace my income? How do I not fall flat on my face?
Yeah.
And so it certainly started, quite honestly, more from a place of survival.
Mm,
But as you get some wins under your belt, I think for whatever reason I've been blessed with this mindset and this approach of um w- like that we're here to create. Um and so I think and this might be a bit of a woo wooey answer, but I think how I expand the vision is I try to get out of my head during those stressful times and just try to get quiet to a place of uh, what's possible, what am I being called to do? I think we all are constantly um, being called, being given messages, whether you call it the universe or wherever it's coming from. And so I don't think it's actually like doing something different. I think it's stripping away the self doubt, the limiting beliefs that are getting in the way of just being able to listen to that.
mm.
Does that make sense?
Eh, absolutely, and I think getting out of our own heads and trying to take the emotion out of it, whether it's us dealing with internal stuff or dealing with an employee that needs to be, improved on or whatever it might be, right? Or a flip that goes bad and it
Yeah.
was outside of your circumstances, right? Or whatever the
Yeah.
situation is. I think a lot of people struggle with the pause and saying, like, where are all the facts? What does the data say? How do I make a decision that is not just based on the emotion that I'm having right now? And then when other people are involved with it, obviously it becomes a little bit crazier. I think over the years I've gotten better, as I'm sure many people have, like yourself, is when it starts to be just about like, hey, if it's a me thing, I can normally get to the root cause of that and put a plan in place in order to get that course corrected pretty quickly now. But I struggle still with whether it's team members or clients or referral partners or just like friends and family of like truly understanding like how do I continue doing what's best for me and the company, but also making sure that I am taking into account different personality types, different roles inside of the company, and then making sure that they don't feel left behind, um, assuming that I give them the right vision.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance, isn't it? I've I was challenged by a mentor recently, uh, almost in the other direction of, I had to be reminded that, um, and this is a blunt way to say it, and it was put bluntly on purpose, but he kind of said, this team member, like, their job is to make you successful. Like,
Yeah.
this is your business, and their
Mm.
job is to make you successful. And again, it was put bluntly within the context of
Yeah,
the
the
more success
situation.
we have as a company, the more people we can serve, and the bigger their lives can be. But yeah, it's an interesting, tricky dynamic. The other that also reminds me, Adam, like the other interesting thing is, um, I think you and I both, and many entrepreneurs share like this constant desire of like, what else can we create? Where else can we go? How cool would this be
Mm,
if? And
yep.
I often forget that, there's a lot of people just that aren't wired that way, and it's not a bad thing, but it's, you know, you encounter team members and vendors and partners who are just like, this, I want to accomplish this, and like, that's good enough. I don't have this big huge vision or this big huge thing that I'm driving towards.
Uh, so kind of going piggybacking off of that, going into your industry, right? Like, I know obviously there's been a lot of up and downs recently since really 2020 and COVID with the real estate market. So, how have you managed to build a business that continues to grow, continues to thrive in unforeseen circumstances that, 2020 things are crazy. After that, there's still the aftermath of that stuff. And then you're starting to see, interest rates go up and go down. Like, how do you handle the complexity of all of that as the CEO and the person running the business?
So, there's I'd answer a couple different ways. One is, I told you I have zero business background, so I've definitely had to learn on the fly how to be a business owner. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying, I ran a business for the first few years, not knowing what KPI stood for, not knowing what a P&L was. And so I think, as I've just been more intentional about my own, self development in those areas, and running towards the things that, I feel incompetent in. I feel like, oh gosh, I should know this, and I don't. Rather than running away from that, I just tend to run towards that. So that's one piece. I think we've thrived just by, um, really understanding our numbers, understanding the industry, and from a marketing standpoint, you've certainly helped with that on the SEO side. But I would say, just in general, as a business owner, I see so many business owners just kind of wasting so much money throwing spaghetti against the wall, kind of seeing what sticks, running business off emotions. Boy, it really feels like SEO has
Mm.
been good in the last month. So, or that lead that came in 2 days ago was great. So SEO is doing great, even though you hadn't gotten a lead in the last 6 months before that. So
Yep.
one is, leading off numbers, not your emotions.
Mm.
I think the other piece, this comes naturally to me with my background. I joke I use my social work degree a lot more now than I ever did previously doing social work. Um,
Yep.
the job of a social worker is to uh, meet a person who is having a challenge and help figure out how to get that person from their challenge across a bridge to the place that they want to be. Well, that's the same job of a business owner. That's what businesses do, right? We find a problem in the market. We find clients that have a need, and we figure out how to fill that need. And so, I think from that standpoint, the other thing we really have focused on is just the uh, the importance of culture and the importance of
Mm,
values, and saying this is how we're going to serve people. Um, and it's kind of cliche. I get kind of annoyed when I see like the bumper stickers from roofers who are like, "We don't care about profit. We just want to serve people." I mean, we
mm,
exist to make money. We have to make profit. But I do think that is an incredibly important balance of the marketplace is going to reward you for your ability to solve problems and to serve people.
yes.
And so I think, we've just really focused on, I don't know that we have the best strategy. I think every month I probably wake up in the middle of the night ready to blow up our marketing strategy and redo it. Um, but I also think about that Peter Drucker line of like culture eats strategy for breakfast. Like
Mm,
the other thing we've done really well is we just a consistent focus in the team on how are we serving people? Are we living the cultural standards that we've set for ourselves?
mm. So before we transfer and kind of shift focus into how you do some of the traditional and untraditional marketing and building authority, I want to kind of go back to kind of what you said about the culture aspect and also tying the profit into it as well. I was the same way for a very, very long time where I was like, I'm going to do the best thing for my clients, even at the expense of X, Y, and Z. And I realized I was overdoing it that way the first time I built an agency. And I shared this a couple, actually like last week when we hit our seven figure so far in 2025. When I did it in 2022, we were at like a 2% profit margin. And now we're like, in that typical 20% range where healthy for us as in the industry and where we want to be. But I was wearing it as a badge of honor previously of like, well, we have all these good things. We're getting results for our clients. It was like we were working with a lot of the wrong people. We were undercharging for a lot of our services. I had some of the wrong team members. I was doing like overworking myself to go fix other people's problems. Like I was going and doing all of the things thinking as if I was doing the right thing. It's like, but if you can't survive in business, and there is no profit, you can't go do all of the other things and continue to go scale that
Right.
without burning out or shutting it down or going out of business just in general. And so how has that evolved? How has that mind shift evolved from like where that was versus maybe where it's at right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It has evolved. My industry of real estate wholesaling, we're typically dealing with sellers who are in anywhere from a distress situation to a crisis
Uh,
situation. And we have encountered um, many, many, many sellers, many, many homeowners who uh, really don't have a lot of other great options.
uh,
And, um, I've also learned that um, if I spend and my team spends um, many, many hours producing what's really not going to be an optimal result for the seller or for us, just because, I felt like I wanted to help them.
uh,
And I felt like I could help them, but maybe I'm not uh, the very best outcome for them. Um, that's actually not serving them, right?
mm,
Um, I think the similarity in or the corollary to your business would be like you have, I'm sure, a certain type of client avatar right now.
mhm,
Um, and if I came to you and said, I've got I've got a budget to be able to spend $75 a month on SEO, and I need 9 hours of Google My Business support sort of thing. It I think it's actually an act of love and service as the business owner to be able to say, I am absolutely going to spend some time with you right now, giving you some ideas on next steps and giving you some ideas on where you might go to get the help you're looking for. I'm not it.
Hmm. Yes.
Um, I think how it's evolved is, and I've certainly had to, it continues to evolve because I'm still learning. It's like, in personal and business relationships, like boundaries are love.
Mhm.
They're not a bad thing.
Yep.
And so I think that, yeah, really that's how evolved is what the service has looked like. I'm still going to serve people, but it doesn't mean I'm going to serve them by dropping everything and ignoring the other clients, the other sellers, my team, to be able to go spend 6 hours with them when really what I need to be saying is, let me love on you in this conversation to be able to get you where you're going to get the best help. And it's not going to be me.
Mm.
It used to hurt my heart to say, I don't think I'm the right fit. Um, and I had to learn that that was actually a true act of service and how much people appreciate me saying, hey, I'm so grateful you called it. Hearing what you have going on, I think we're a terrible fit for each other. So let me find you the right fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it's evolved.
There's so much power in handling it that way and navigating it from that standpoint because I think a lot of people, I know we've all started somewhere where we were like, well, we felt like we needed to take on that client because we needed the revenue or we needed the X, Y, and Z and or they had a really compelling story and I just wanted to be a part of it, right? But I think there's
Sure.
a lot of power and confidence and authority, which we'll get into here in a second, that comes with saying, hey, I hear you. I know what you need, but I'm not the right person to be able to help do that and get them to that next layer. So glad that you kind of shared that because leading into that, I think doing that eventually creates solid word of mouth, referrals, people just saying, hey, Greg and his team took awesome care of me and they didn't charge a dime. We never did business and I was able to go figure out what I needed to do. How have you built authority over the years from getting started to where you're at now, whether that's marketing strategies, being involved in the community, investing in yourself to learn like all those different things that kind of has comprised the authority aspect?
Yeah. So I think maybe a couple things. One is, and luckily this doesn't this just goes in line with who I am, but you know, choosing to operate a business where you're just always going to be impeccable with your word, and
Mm,
um, and because the I think the most successful business owners are going to fail and mess up a lot. Uh, and as I'm constantly trying to teach my kids, right? It's not usually the mess up; it's usually how you handle the mess up afterwards. And so I think the
mhm.
first thing we've really tried to do is just be honest and upfront, especially in our industry. Like real estate's weird, and there's title issues and things. You have a conversation with a seller of here's how it's going to go, and rarely does it go that way, and
Go that
most of the
way.
things are out of my control.
Yeah.
But I'm still at the end of the day ultimately accountable and responsible for their experience.
Mm,
And so the only way I know how to do that and to be the authority is to just be upfront and honest about that and own the things that were messed up and um, figure out how to move forward. So that's I think one piece is just leading with uh, authenticity, leading with, "Hey, I think I can help you, but I'm not quite sure how." Right, whatever that looks like. So that's certainly one piece. I've had to learn to have it be okay for me to ask people to help me build authority because I know uh, what we're doing for sellers, and I think in the beginning I was hesitant to it felt like I'm like ringing the bell and saying, Adam, pull that spotlight over here. Like, look at me. Look how great we're doing. Right. Even as simple as like asking for a Google review felt like that to me.
yeah.
Um, and so, that's been a growth edge, but in a really beautiful way to help us build a lot of authority. I mean, I go certainly getting into like the nitty gritty of SEO and Google My Business. I don't have to tell you the importance of Google reviews, um, but we're really intentional about that. We're not because of the impact it's going to have like on algorithms as much as like, I mean, look, it's 2025. Nobody buys anything without looking at reviews.
Mhm.
And we know how impactful those have been for the people that we work with. So building systems, but also building true intentionality behind those systems to help people understand, like, hey, it seems like we really were able to have a meaningful connection and help you bridge that gap from pain to now out of that pain with this house. And I'm so grateful for that. And there's probably someone scrolling right now on their phone that is in the exact same spot you are, and you can help us find that person. So that intentionality there, I think, is another big piece. And then lastly, I'd say, and this certainly came from the win rate community that you and I were both in. If you're doing some cool things and helping people, you're being selfish by not sharing that. Um,
Mm.
and that was a truth that really smacked me in the face, and I really struggled with. And when it was said, I kind of immediately fought it with every ounce of my business. Like, don't call me selfish. No, I'm helping people. But I think that's really true. That if whatever your business is, whatever your offering is, if you believe it's going to impact people's lives positively, then you have a responsibility to share that, because nobody's going to find out otherwise. Nobody's going to show up and do that work for me. I've got to do it. And so that's really evolved kind of what I do on social media, and in terms of networking opportunities and that sort of thing.
And I think that's kind of like where I'm so passionate about the personal branding, because I've not just seen what it's done for me as a person and as an entrepreneur, but for my businesses, but really for the people who just watch the content, and whether they implement it or not, just sometimes giving them the ability or the at least opportunity to say, hey, I can go do whatever I want to do, because I saw Adam here and now Adam's doing this, and I saw him deal with this and he was able to like overcome that and go do those different things, giving them the permission to go say, hey, this is possible. And the ripple effect of that is actually the impact that your business can get from it, albeit it's not like an overnight thing. So as you go and as you level up to that next thing, stuff just happens because you put good stuff out in the universe, and you've taken care of people, and you haven't screwed people over, and you've not been perfect, but you've also been transparent and authentic. And I think a lot of people only either share the highlight reels or they don't share anything at all. And then they wonder, well, like, why doesn't anybody know who I am? I have this business. And sometimes it's by design, right? So I know a couple people that are, way more successful than I will likely ever be. And nobody even knows they are. They want it that way. But then there's the
Mhm.
people that are like, hey, I got started in a business in 2020 and things just took off and I never had to do marketing, but now leads are harder to come by. The up and down of the economy and inflation and like all the different things. It's like, if you wait until you absolutely need something, when it comes to building a brand, doing marketing authority, or just working on processes and systems inside of your business, you are too late,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you wait until the last minute, it's going to be a struggle, right? So, what are you kind of planning for the future, right? As you guys are continuing to grow, like, what are some exciting things you're working on? Whether that's innovation, whether that's just the company as a whole. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, it's an exciting time. I never thought I would be a franchise owner. And we didn't get into it, but I started the business not as a franchise owner, but some early mentors who've just become best friends in the world started a franchising model, and it made too much sense not to. Um, and anyway, I think there are some pretty lofty goals within the franchising model to really, I think, change the face of real estate investing. I think if I were to boil it down, it's that this is an interesting and weird industry. There's regulation coming, which I would say is a really, really good thing, because, that any model where there's a low barrier to entry, you're going to get folks who either don't know what they're doing and are doing the wrong thing, or intentionally doing the wrong thing to
Yeah.
take advantage of people, deceive people. And so, I think we have some goals that really kind of throughout this country, when if you're in as a seller either in a compromised situation or just want an alternative to the typical list my house with a realtor, the name Joe Homebuyer is going to mean that I'm going to be, I'm going to be treated in a way I want to be treated, and I'm going to get this. I'm either going to get the solution that I needed from this company, or I'm going to be steered in the right direction, but not anything other than that. So that's pretty exciting from that standpoint. And then, on a personal standpoint, I have some goals within my business to make sure everybody that's working for me gets to create the life of their dreams for what that looks like for them. So I have a young kid on my team, 27, who just in the last couple of years has done 2 flips, and he's now owns 4 rental properties. His net worth has increased, probably $500,000 since he's worked for me, not just by learning real estate and learning the power of that. So yeah, I mean, I think without getting too detailed, I would say I certainly have an expectation I'm going to build a business where everybody who works for me, becomes millionaires within a certain time frame. Because why not? It's because the power of what you can create and the impact you can have in this world is pretty fun to approach things that way.
That's awesome. I can't wait to continue to see what you guys are able to accomplish, and to see you continue to reach new levels as the CEO and entrepreneur, and even build your personal brand, seeing more and more of your content out there. It's awesome to see. So I'm excited for you. I appreciate you and your business and everything that you do for me and my company. So thanks again for coming on, man. This was awesome. Where can people stay connected with you? Learn more about Joe Homebuyer Triad Group. Learn more about Greg Berney.
Man, I appreciate it. I would say Instagram is probably the fastest way to find me, and it's just at Greg Berney. If you search Joe Homebuyer Triad Group, you're going to find a pretty incredible webpage with some incredible SEO behind it. And no, Adam, I'm grateful for your partnership, and as you were building and expanding your company, it was a no-brainer to get to work with you. And I'm grateful not only for that, but also the influence you have. I mean, it's anytime there's maybe I shouldn't post this, or gosh, I probably should post, but I'm not sure I want to. I inevitably see something you've done, and you do things the right way. You lead with vulnerability and integrity and all the things that are attractive to others, and it inspires me to do the same. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that feedback. And you heard Greg, make the post. Don't overthink it.
Amen.
Awesome. Well, Greg, thank you so much again. Hey, everybody that was listening today, we appreciate her watching on YouTube. Make sure to go follow Greg, see what he's doing online. He's making a big impact and doing some incredible things at Joe Homebuyer Triad Group. And make sure to leave us a 5-star review if you're listening to this on a podcast. Subscribe and download this episode, but make sure you get notified every single time a new episode comes up. Like the YouTube video, subscribe to the channel. Definitely having all of this support helps us push the needle, and we appreciate it, right? It's a big thing that doesn't go unnoticed, and we'll see you next week. Remember, authority isn't built overnight. It's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.